What's going on, guys? Mick here with another video. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about upcoming extraction shooter developed by Bungie, Marathon. Marathon is an anticipated title that had a very rocky alpha with a very delayed launch, but so far so good, as they have been making a lot of changes that we're going to get into in this video. Things are looking better, things are looking up, and we're going to get into all of that on this video. But if you are new to the channel, then I would ask you like and subscribe. Here on the channel we talk about gaming news, discussions and all things gaming, so if you want to see more of that, please think about sticking around. More importantly though, please do remember to leave your thoughts down below as I reply to everybody, get back to everyone, and I do enjoy reading the comments. Keeping this intro nice and short, then we're going to get straight into it and find out if Marathon is looking good. Okay, so what is Marathon then? For people who don't know, Marathon is an upcoming extraction shooter. It is next in line in that ever so growing popular extraction shooter genre. Extraction shooters, as we all know, has been popping off over recent years, starting with games like Tarkov and ABI to more recently Arc Raiders, which has been dominating the player market. Arc Raiders has seen peaks of 700,000 daily concurrent players on the Steam and has been maintaining that since its launch. While Arc Raiders has amazing AI, gameplay mechanics and art style, it all comes down to that core gameplay mechanic, that core gameplay loop of extractions. This is where you have to go in, get loot, get out, and then bring it back to your stash, and then you can bring that loot in again to help you get better loot, and so the cycle continues. Games like these have been growing in popularity over the years, and it really is due to that addicting gameplay. I mean, I've played lots and lots of extraction shooters, and it all does come down to that gameplay mechanic.
Is this a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway?
You know, I've played Tarkov, I've played ABI, as we know in the channel, I've played a lot of Arc Raiders, and, you know, it really is addicting and fun, so it is exciting to see what Marathon can do with that gameplay loop. Marathon then is being developed by Bungie. As we know, Bungie are responsible for the Halo series and also more recently Destiny. We're definitely going to see a lot of Halo and Destiny being thrown in here with weapons and overshields and just the simple movement mechanics. You know, there is a lot of that in here, as you can see, so it is interesting to see how much they take from Halo and how much they take from Destiny and kind of turn that into this extraction shooter. There is a lot of information on this game though, none of this is new. As I said, there was an alpha, there was streamers playing this, there is gameplay out there, but you know, from what we'll look at in the video, there is a lot of changes, so hopefully what we see come March 5th is a lot different than what we've seen before, because as I said, this was not a well received alpha, this was not well received at all. This game does stem from Bungie's original release of Marathon in 1994. This was again not in the extraction shooter genre, but it was a 3D shooter that had players use combat and solve puzzles, but again this was a very old game. However, we are seeing the story elements and the art style definitely bleed into this more modern release. I mean, just looking at this gameplay, it is no surprise this came out 1 year after Doom 93, but you know, then again, let's not say anything about that. You know, by no means am I accusing Bungie of stealing or copying somebody else's work. No, that's absolutely ridiculous to think of and completely out of the question. Now, there was plenty of complaints about the alpha release, the gameplay itself. I mean, a lot of people did like to, you know, talk bad about the trailers and reveals. But, you know, serious gamers really did look at the gameplay, because that's where you're going to get your opinions. And then, you know, that's what it's all about, the game itself. There was a lot of serious complaints about this game, and some of it being about graphical fidelity and the world not feeling lived in or feeling quite quiet. There was an issue with mouse magnetism. The developers had initially added a feature that keyboard and mouse players could have aim assist.
Why are they lying?
I don't know. Hey, magnetism. Oh, that feels nice. Dude, I'm so down. It's the day and age. It's the day and age of mouse and keyboard. It's the day and age of mouse and keyboard getting freaking aimbot.
Unfortunately for Shroud, that day and age has come to an end quite quickly, as the developers have completely reverted this decision and it will not be featured in the full release. You know, I may be a little biased here as a controller main, but I mean, at the end of the day, how are you going to maintain a competitive playing field on cross-play elements with aim assist for keyboards? There obviously is that whole debate in gaming about the competitiveness between keyboard and mouse and controller aim assist. Well, people say this and that about each side. You know, when it comes down to it, this has worked for a long time and it is the most balanced option that we can find at the moment. So the developers have removed this mouse magnetism feature, and you know, I am glad for it, and I think the community will be happier for it. This is going to level the playing field and, you know, allow for that more accessible cross-play action that people want to get into with their PC friends or their console friends. There was some complaints about the actual running of the game. Some people said that DLSS was causing issues. Some people said that the FPS and the input delay wasn't good. Apparently the higher the FPS, the worse the input delay was. All this stuff has been sorted and looked at. You know, when the alpha did initially release, there was a lot of hate directed at the game. There was a lot of people, you know, making fun of it, talking about how bad it was. While there was some constructive criticisms, a lot of this hate was directed at the stolen art scandal and of course the delayed release. Most developers just blame the community and let them go with it and say it's our fault for not enjoying the game, but you have to respect Bungie's decision here to actually listen to complaints and fix the game. It is really rare to see this in a modern gaming setting where companies listen to the player base and make changes before release. Whether this game is good or not on release, I think it's safe to say that the developers deserve respect here for the effort regardless. So definitely lots of changes made by Bungie throughout, and we're going to look at some of the stuff that they have added into this newer full release compared to what they had at the alpha.
It's go time. Players particularly pose a lot of danger to you. They can make a lot of decisions that you might find illogical and completely trick you into scenarios. Sometimes the best loot box is another player that you see along the run. So there's a few different ways you can play the game. So one of them is you can play in group, both with your friends and also through crew fill, which will just match you with 2 other players. You can play solo, and you'll jump into a game with a bunch of other solo players.
In solo, I think the stakes are a bit higher, right? You have only yourself to rely on.
You still have proc strat, so you can call out to other solos, but you know, you are playing a tense alliance game where it's really up to them whether or not they decide to honor or respect that alliance you might have created.
As you can see there, solo play has been confirmed, and it is going to be in that style that we see from the likes of Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders solos mode, then if you queue solos, you'll be put into a lobby with other people playing solo, and obviously there is that prox chat feature. Prox chat used in Arc Raiders for, you know, teaming up with other solos, getting some loot together, fighting off other people, and of course there is that betrayal mechanic that everybody likes to talk about. While there is going to be plenty of rats out there looking for those betrays, it is all part of the fun, it's all part of the game, so it'll be interesting to see what people get up to, and this is definitely the best way to do solos in this extraction shooter.
We're trying to keep everything as believable and realistic as possible.
So we cranked up all the material responses, feel accurate, feel realistic. You know, you'll get gloss, you'll get crud and mud. And no one of those things is all that sexy, but when you layer in just a little bit more, you know, responsive to light, a little bit more responsive to the player, things will part, water will pool. Layer in all these different things, the world becomes much more alive. It feels like a real place. And then when you're feeling like a real place and you feel in danger, now your run matters.
I look back at some of the alpha shots and it's kind of hard to tell when it's sunny or when it's rainy. Weather feels like weather now. But like when it's sunny, you get this really nice like bleaching effect. It feels bright. It feels like warm when it's sunny now. I feel like we're just celebrating that color so much more. I think it just contributes to the whole effect.
So as we can see, Bungie really taking on that criticism of the artwork, of the weather system, of the general fidelity of the game. A lot of animation leads and art directors here just letting us know that they're definitely going to improve on this. Everything looks and feels more alive. So this is an actual genuine response from Bungie to actual criticism. They fixed it, they've improved it, and it looks a lot better than what we've seen from the alpha. Well, we'll not know until we're in the game and playing it. From these shots alone and from what these guys are talking about, there definitely is a lot of improvements made on the graphical fidelity and the weather system.
So we have dead bodies in the game now. We also have like decay on the runners themselves. Like you'll actually see them fall apart. We're actually dropping the body stays there, and the body slowly decays over time as you loot it.
So you come into a room and you see a bunch of carnage, but you see one body is still pristine, you know that their killer is probably close and you are not safe. If everybody is just a messy goop, you're probably okay.
So there's another criticism answered by Bungie. In the alpha, I do believe that when an enemy was eliminated, it was just their bag of loot on the floor. This new feature adds a body that decays as it's looted, so even though this may seem like a small thing, when this is layered on top of everything else, it starts to add to that more detailed and lived-in feeling of an extraction shooter. You know, if everybody was just their loot on the ground as they were eliminated, it starts to peel back those layers of immersion and realism, and you know, really does take you away from the match itself. This has two advantages to it. This adds a completely new gameplay mechanic of the body's decay and the information that you'll get on nearby enemies, but it also adds to that overall immersion of each raid and really does bring the world that extra, you know, step up in terms of realism. Really good that Bungie are making these little changes to add to all the gameplay elements, but it's also good to see that they're listening to overall criticisms.
The discussion about the interaction between score and sound design. And I wanted to create a score that wasn't just like full of instruments you've heard before. The job was, how can I make what I'm seeing, this race to survival, even more nervous and even more terrifying or even more thrilling?
Audio in this game not having the most criticisms, you know, footsteps sound about right, the composure's good. I just hope Bungie's ambitions are as big as this guy's glasses. That's all I really have to say on the audio front.
Marathon has a lot of loot in it. It's a huge pie. There's a ton of different implants at every rarity. There's a ton of different runner cores for each runner. There's over 400 weapon mods. Like, it's just an outlandish number of items to collect.
There's going to be a really interesting period of discoverability where players sort of figure out, what are the pieces that I have available to me? How do I get them? And how do I put them together into something that's awesome?
You can go through and look at how many iconic weapons have come from Bungie. And it's something that we really want to hold up and make sure that we're matching that legacy.
Visually, they're all really, really distinct and clearly Marathon, but we wanted animation-wise a majority of them to feel recognizable. So when you put them in your hands, you knew how to use them.
Mods will basically allow you to increase certain stats on the guns, that battery SMG. The gold mod, full-blown, turns it into the needlet. The sidearm is a gun that is effective in close quarters, but maybe not too much outside of that. But the gold mod on this gun puts a suppressor on it, and then when I kill something with this gun, I turn invisible.
Okay guys, so a lot to unpack there with loot and weaponry in Marathon. I just wanted to quickly look at this inventory menu screen that they shown there. As you can see, there is like a stat list on the left hand side. These are going to be changed by whatever equipment you possess or cores that you've put in and implants and such. These will affect your character's core stats, so the stuff we'll see here is the likes of heat capacity, agility, loot speed, ping duration, firewall, all sorts of stuff that really adds to your character's identity and also your ability in raid. This is really interesting to see, and I love this kind of like, you know, separation from everybody being the exact same character and doing the exact same thing. While a lot of people like that kind of balancing, in an extraction shooter it is good to see something different here, and it will be interesting to see how these stats affect you per raid. Something similar that I could compare this to would maybe be the likes of Delta Force with your character's abilities, but there definitely seems to be a lot more customization and options surrounding Marathon. Another thing they mentioned about the weapon system is that every weapon will feel different, look different, and act different, so these weapons being more identifiable when you pick them up is definitely going to lend to people being able to use every gun from memory alone, because they know what the weapon looks like and how it reloads and the animations. This is some issues I've had with extraction shooters in the past, where every weapon kind of acts the same and looks the same, and then you pick it up and you don't know how to use it, or the recoil's different. And while people out there do prefer that realism when it comes to weaponry and such in these games, this is going to allow for Marathon to attract a more casual gamer, because as we know, the genre in the past has not been aimed that way. We haven't really seen casual gamers get into extraction shooters until maybe the release of Arc Raiders, so it is good to see this more casual element.
The shield back to me. At any point you feel like you don't want to risk anything, or maybe you're down on your luck and you want the opportunity to get back, Rook's your guy.
Rook is a prototype runner shell.
It's a mode where we make it easy for you to just kind of drop into a match that's in progress and run about and try to scavenge as much as possible.
You are going in solo to a run that's already in progress. You don't have a team, you have a very limited loadout, but you're not risking anything. This lets you kind of get in, grab a little bit of loot, and then bail.
So when you get like a really powerful gun or implant or core, it is unlocking some new space or new challenge that you've never done before, and the loot is helping you reach greater heights.
Okay, that's a very recognizable mechanic that we see in extraction shooters all over the place. That is the Scav Run. So the Scav Run is a very popular mechanic that we see in extraction shooters all over, including Arc Raiders with its free kit system. This is a way of you just going in for free, risking nothing, but you're going in mid-game and picking up scraps and trying to get out with some decent loot to add to your stash. Something like this has definitely been seen in a lot of games before with the Scav Run and Tarkov, and there is another feature like that in ABI as well. This is a good feature as it allows you to catch up with loot. You know, if you're at the bottom of the barrel and you've got nothing left to go in with, you're going to use this Scav Run or this free kit to go in and get some stuff so you can, you know, build up and get better at the game. This kind of feature was used in Arc Raiders as previously mentioned. However, do not hate me, this might be a bad opinion, but I don't think the free kit system was done correctly in Arc Raiders. I think you could profit way too much off it by going into, you know, a fresh game and coming out with a lot of loot and risking absolutely nothing. I did think the free kits in Arc Raiders were way too viable, and a lot of people relied heavily on them and did not use a lot of their own gear. While a lot of people might disagree with me on that point, this is just my opinion, but you know, the Scav Run on Tarkov and ABI was on a timer, so you could only do one Scav Run or free kit run per whatever it was, 30 minutes, an hour. This definitely does level the playing field and makes it a lot less viable, but again, if you're aiming towards that casual player, developers are going to want to put as little of a time restriction on any feature as possible, as they want to maintain that player count, they want to maintain players staying on the game, so any timer system or timer mechanic, they're going to try and avoid that whatsoever. It will be interesting to see how Marathon do kind of limit this free kit system, if they do limit it at all, but from the likes of Arc Raiders, there was no limitation on those free kits, so I doubt Marathon's going to put a limitation on this one either.
Access denied.
Darius, you know me. Did you miss your last round of maintenance?
Don't search. Don't dig. Don't question.
Darius?
Access denied.
Hey,
Access
it's
denied.
okay. It's just me.
You're not alone.
The Codex is...
Just by listening to that little clip there, that's definitely Neil Newbon for sure, isn't it? You know, that guy talking there on the intercom or whatever it was. This game definitely does have a very stacked voice acting cast, and while we've talked about games and their voice acting casts getting bigger and bigger in a previous video, I definitely thought I recognized Astaria in there over the intercom. Maybe I'm hearing things.
In the Codex, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can unlock. Runner skins, weapon charms, stickers, emblems, backgrounds for your profile, and titles.
So it's everything from your first steps on the world of Tau City 4 all the way through to becoming a vid master and taking on the most extreme challenges.
So as we just heard, there is going to be challenges, things to unlock. There are going to be factions and traders with a trader rep system. And these are going to give us missions throughout the game. So not every raid is just mindlessly finding loot. There are going to be different tasks you can do, different traders you can upgrade, and they'll give you more things in return. I always love like a task and trader system in extraction shooters. You know, I need something to go for other than the main raid itself. Some people don't like it, some people don't care for it, but I really do enjoy like having missions, having tasks, things to unlock throughout the raid. Giving you that objective on top of fighting other players is always a good feature for me in extraction shooters. So guys, for that video that we just watched, they for sure get into a lot more detail than what we've covered here. They talk about the 400 different weapon mods, the different abilities. They go into more detail about each location and map that's going to be available to us at launch. For me personally, I definitely see a massive difference here between now and the alpha. It is good to see that these guys are listening to the community and making positive changes. I know for a fact that I'm definitely going to pick up Marathon at launch and play it. I am a fan of extraction shooters. I'm also a big fan of Bungie and the original Halo, so I am for sure going to pick this up at launch. There's a lot of changes being made and it does look good, so I'm for sure going to get amongst it at launch. Other than that guys though, I am going to wrap it up. I will leave a video link in the description for the video that we just covered. If you're interested in Marathon and the details surrounding the game, I definitely recommend you watch the video in full that I will link down down below. Other than that, guys, though, I'm going to wrap it up. If you are looking forward to Marathon or have any thoughts on Marathon, please leave them down below and I will definitely get back to you. Let me know if you like the look of the game, or you like extraction shooters, or maybe you think that this game's going to completely flop. Let me know down below and we'll talk about it. That's going to be it for me, guys. I am going to bounce, but as always, I will see you in the next one.